If you've ever been to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal Hollywood, did you know that you were actually at the former location of a legendary concert venue? A venue where many concerts have happened, and even politicians and religious figures have given speeches at. It's strange that a venue like this would be located at a theme park. So why was it located there, and how did it attract such big names? This is the story of the Universal Amphitheater.
Hey you, do you live in Disney World?
Nope.
Exactly. Do you wish you lived in Disney World?
No, not really.
Well, that doesn't matter. This video is brought to you by Magic Candle Company. I love these scents. I have these candles burning all the time in my office while I'm making these videos and writing these scripts. I've been a customer of Magic Candle Company for a long time. My favorite scent is probably Flying Over Africa. They are so authentic and smell exactly like the actual attraction. It's insane. I personally recommend going to magiccandlecompany.com and getting one of their bundles because you get 4 of their magical fragrances, either the candle bundles or the fragrance oil bundles. I personally love, and I know you will love them too. And check this out, I have a deal for you. If you buy any product, you can get 15% off if you use my code BigBeautifulDiz15 for 15% off your order. Just put it in the discount code. It'll work. You can save some money. And yeah, thank you so much to Magic Candle Company for sponsoring this video. Again, BigBeautifulDiz15. Go to magiccandlecompany.com. Thank you, and back to the video.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Universal Amphitheater.
Good evening, Los Angeles. How wonderful to be here.
Almost Acoustic Christmas. I'm Kat Corbett, live from Universal Amphitheater.
How you doing out there tonight? All right, listen.
Thank you very much. Once again, good evening. Welcome to our little concert tonight, the first of 7, the beautiful Universal Amphitheater.
I met a guy the other day. He was the head of the whole Universal thing. He said, if you want to tear that place down on the last night, feel free to do so.
It's lovely, as I said, to be back here again, especially with a lot of old friends that are out there. And I mean old.
Live from Los Angeles, the 1990 MTV Video Music Awards.
Now, here comes 4 incredible nights of music at Universal Amphitheater.
In 1971, Universal built a new auditorium for the Wild West stunt show. This show takes place during the day, and then after the sun goes down, there was nothing happening at the venue at night. Construction began in 1969, and the stage for the stunt show was completed in 1970. The stunt show was Western themed, so an Old West facade was built. The stunt show moved into the new space in 1971. A young tram tour employee suggested that after the stunt show performers go home for the day, the venue should be used for concerts. Universal liked this idea and saw an opportunity to make some money. So starting in 1972, the Universal Amphitheater was officially open. The first music performance to take place in the venue was Jesus Christ Superstar. The show premiered on June 28, 1972 and proved to be popular. Jesus Christ Superstar was performed there until the colder months later in 1972. The first concert happened a month later on July 19, 1972. Joan Baez performed that night. 1 year later, in 1973, the amphitheater was expanded to 5,300 seats. Nearly every night that summer, the amphitheater was sold out. More national acts started performing multiple nights there. Grateful Dead performed 3 nights there. John Denver made his first appearance there on July 9, 1973. Engelbert Humperdinck played 3 nights. Johnny Mathis played 2. Tom Jones played 6. Carpenters played 2. Barry Manilow played 2 nights. Waylon Jennings played 2 nights. And the concert season ended for 1973. Gordon Lightfoot was the first show in 1974. Helen Reddy played 7 nights. Joni Mitchell played 2 nights and recorded a live album called Miles of Aisles there. John Denver played 6 nights and also recorded a live album there called An Evening with John Denver. David Bowie played 6 nights during the Diamond Dogs tour, and Frank Sinatra played there on September 27, 1974. 1975 brought James Taylor, Crosby and Nash, who performed 3 nights there, and Gladys Knight, who performed 4 nights there. Fleetwood Mac performed there in June, May, and August of 1976. Gordon Lightfoot came back for 4 nights, and Electric Light Orchestra played 4 nights. Billy Joel played there in 1976, and Linda Ronstadt was the last show of 1976. Hall & Oates was the first show of 1977. Hart, Kenny Rogers, Chris Christopherson, Gordon Lightfoot, Jackson Browne, who recorded Love Needs a Heart, featured on his live album Running on Empty. This live album was recorded at various places around the world. Most famously, it was recorded at Merriweather Post Pavilion. Randy Newman, Neil Sedaka, also performed there during the summer of 1977. Linda Ronstadt was again the last shows of 1977. She performed 10 nights there. In 1978, Bob Dylan played 7 nights in June. Donna Summer played 3 nights where she recorded a live album called Live and More. Jimmy Buffett played 2 nights during the Cheeseburger in Paradise tour. The Kinks played 3 nights. Leo Sayer and Yvonne Elliman played 5 nights. America played 2 nights. Kenny Loggins and Any Money played there in July. Frank Sinatra returned in 1978 and played 10 nights. The Blues Brothers and Steve Martin performed for 9 nights in September. The first night, September 9th, was recorded for the Blues Brothers album Briefcase Full of Blues. This album hit number 1 on the Billboard album chart and has sold 3.5 million copies in total, making it one of the highest selling blues albums in history. Diana Ross also played there in September, and the last shows of 1978 were Liza Minnelli. She played 6 nights. 1979 started with the Beach Boys. They played 7 nights, and Frank Sinatra returned and also played 7 nights. The Doobie Brothers played 7 nights, and Santana played 2 nights. Cher also played 2 nights in July and then came back for 2 more nights in August. Tom Petty played 2 nights. Boz Scaggs played 3 nights. The Cars played there too. Elton John played the last shows of 1979. He played 10 nights at the venue. Kenny Loggins was the first show of 1980. Jimmy Buffett returned for 4 nights. Little River Band played for 3 nights, and Frank Sinatra returned for 6 nights. Willie Nelson played 5 nights. The Blues Brothers came back and played 7 nights. This was right after the release of the film, hence why they performed so many nights. Also in 1980, Eddie Money and Pat Benatar performed. Greg Kihn Band and Boz Scaggs. Paul Simon, who played 2 nights, and John Denver was the last show before the amphitheater closed for renovations. The Universal Amphitheater underwent a big refurbishment in 1980. A roof was added to the venue, and the number of seats was expanded to 6,251. The Universal Amphitheater reopened on July 30th, 1982. Frank Sinatra was the first artist to play after the refurb. Other artists who played in 1982 included Greg Kihn Band and Rick Springfield, Toto, Dolly Parton, Joe Ellie and Linda Ronstadt, Olivia Newton-John, Kansas, Willie Nelson, Oingo Boingo, Glenn Frey, Abe Orwine, and Uriah Heep, Men at Work, Crosby, Stills and Nash, Devo, Phil Collins, and Bette Midler. As you can tell, the expansion brought in more national acts, and because the venue had a higher capacity than before, it was now equipped for more concerts. Acts that played in 1983 were Neil Young, Eric Clapton, Motley Crue, and Kiss on the Creatures of the Night tour, Prince, Tom Petty, Frank Sinatra, Berlin, Donna Summer, Rick James, Chicago, Elvis Costello, Kansas, the Beach Boys, and Barry Manilow. 1984 brought Willie Nelson, Heart, Kansas, Pretenders, Golden Earring and 38 Special, Adam Ant, John Mellencamp, Elvis Costello, Huey Lewis and the News, David Gilmour, Julio Iglesias, Neil Young, The Fix, Oingo Boingo, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and Frank Zappa. Concerts in 1985 included Oingo Boingo, Ella Fitzgerald, Spandau Ballet, Beastie Boys and Madonna, Julian Lennon, Toto, Van Morrison, Phil Collins, Eric Clapton, the Pointer Sisters, Night Ranger, Tom Jones, Tina Turner, Thompson Twins, Supertramp, Simple Minds, Whitney Houston, and Stryper. The first concert to take place at the Universal Amphitheater in 1986 was on New Year's Day. General public performed. Other artists who played there in 1986 included Sheila E. with Prince, James Brown, Robin Williams, Joe Jackson, Lou Reed, Aha, The Smiths, The Moody Blues and The Fix, The Temptations and Four Tops, R.E.M., Elton John, Steve Winwood, Glenn Frey, Miles Davis. 1987 brought Cyndi Lauper, Paul Simon, Kool and the Gang, the Georgia Satellites and Tom Petty, B.B. King, Air Supply, REO Speedwagon, Leonard Skinner, Robert Plant, Joan Jett, Jethro Tull, and the Pointer Sisters. In 1988, Gladys Knight, Hall & Oates, Steve Winwood, George Strait, Cheap Trick, Robert Palmer, Robert Plant, and Joan Jett, Pat Benatar, Steve Miller Band, and Sam Kinison played there. The Universal Amphitheater ended the 80s decade in 1989 with such concerts as Duran Duran, Chicago, LA Guns and Cheap Trick, Bad Company, New Order, Warrant and Pretty Boy Floyd, Oingo Boingo, Howard Jones, The Monkees, Dolly Parton, The Who. This performance was recorded and released on VHS as The Who Live, featuring the rock opera Tommy, Rick Astley, Don Henley, Eurythmics, and Barry Manilow. The B-52s were the first concert of 1990. Some other concerts were Nine Inch Nails, Roy Orbison tribute to benefit the homeless, Go-Go's, The Cult, Milli Vanilli, Depeche Mode, Damn Yankees and Bad Company, Bonnie Raitt, The Black Crowes and Robert Plant, Earth, Wind and Fire, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming out of our Shells tour, Kenny G, and Michael Bolton. In 1991, Michael Bolton, Nine Inch Nails, Jane's Addiction, Albert King and B.B. King, Primus and Living Colour, Pet Shop Boys, Styx, Tony Bennett, George Thorogood, Nelson and Tyketto, Van Halen, Firehouse, Trickster, and Warrant, Ozzy Osbourne, and Barry Manilow were some of the concerts. In 1992, concerts were held by Lenny Kravitz and The Cure, Rod Stewart, Spinal Tap, Gary Moore, Peter Frampton, Mr. Big, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, the Benefit for Pediatric AIDS Foundation, Age Project LA, Commitment to Live, Cypress Hill and Beastie Boys, Ministry, Hamlet, and Sepultura. 1993 brought Oingo Boingo, Keith Richards, Danzig, Extreme, Dwight Yoakam, Foreigner, Billy Ray Cyrus, Tears for Fears, Bette Midler, and Suicidal Tendencies, who recorded a live album at the Universal Amphitheater that year. In 1993, Universal added a shopping and dining district around the entrance of the venue called Universal City Walk, so guests had a place to hang out before and after the concerts. 1994 brought even more great acts like Motorhead, Black Sabbath, Rhythm Country and Blues Foundation Benefit Concert, Traffic, Luis Miguel, Nine Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson, Anthrax, and Stone Temple Pilots. In 1995, Danny Elfman's band Oingo Boingo decided to call it a career. They ended their career with 4 shows at the Universal Amphitheater, the last of the 4 being the final show in the band's history. It was shot and released as a live album and concert DVD called Farewell Live from the Universal Amphitheater. '96 brought some new and older artists to the Universal Amphitheater, like 311, Wynonna Judd, Ricky Martin, Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, Scorpions and Alice Cooper, A Tribe Called Quest, Adam Sandler, Buddy Guy, Rage Against the Machine, Shakira, No Doubt, Stone Temple Pilots, ZZ Top, the Dave Matthews Band, and Soundgarden. 1997 had great concerts like Beck, Ringo Starr and his all-star band, Pat Travers and Foghat, Pat Benatar and Styx, Blue Oyster Cult, Boston, Sammy Hagar, David Bowie, the Allman Brothers Band, Everclear, Jamiroquai, Yes, Duran Duran, and Barry Manilow. In 1998, Oasis, Judas Priest, Usher, Mary J. Blige, LeAnn Rimes, Government Mule, Eagles, The Smashing Pumpkins, Stevie Nicks, Iron Maiden and Dio, Backstreet Boys, Public Enemy, Cypress Hill, Third Eye Blind, and the Bare Naked Ladies all performed at the Universal Amphitheater. I'm mentioning all these great concerts, but I haven't mentioned all the great annual shows that would happen here. Some of them were televised nationally, like the Billboard Music Awards. They took place at the Universal Amphitheater in 1992, 93, and 94. Genesis, Boyz II Men, and The Offspring were some of the bands that played live during that award show. The MTV Video Music Awards also called Universal Amphitheater home in the late 1980s and early 90s. The venue hosted in 1986, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 93, and 98. Some of the artists that played live during those shows were Run DMC, Prince, Poison, The Cars, David Bowie, Bryan Adams, INXS, Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith, Def Leppard, MC Hammer, Metallica, Sting, Whitesnake, and the LA-based radio station KROQ also used the venue every year for their Christmas concerts. Prince was the first concert of 1999 at the Universal Amphitheater. Other concerts of 1999 included NSYNC and Britney Spears, Culture Club, Ringo Starr and his all-star band, The Offspring, Alanis Morissette, Jeff Beck, Blondie, Rat, Sammy Hagar, Whitney Houston, and this was actually the last time Whitney Houston ever performed in North America, Motley Crue and Scorpions, Eminem, Real Big Fish, Silverchair, Queensryche. Sting recorded a live album here in 1999. It is called Live at the Universal Amphitheater. On New Year's Eve, Jimmy Buffett played. And the first show of the new millennium in 2000 was Luis Miguel. Other concerts were Pretenders, Morrissey, Styx and REO Speedwagon, The Smashing Pumpkins, Lou Reed, Mary J. Blige, Steely Dan, Roger Waters, Bad Religion, Iron Maiden, Creed, Christina Aguilera, Deftones, Foo Fighters. In 2001, Marilyn Manson, Destiny's Child, Sugar Ray, Anthrax, Stevie Nicks, the 2001 Teen Choice Awards, and the Trans-Siberian Orchestra played there. In 2002, Judas Priest, Little Richard and Chuck Berry, No Doubt, Alanis Morissette, David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar, Outkast, Slayer, Beck, Counting Crows, Yes. In 2003, Foo Fighters, the American Idol finale, Newfound Glory, Evanescence, Mariah Carey, Godsmack, the Brian Setzer Orchestra. 2004 brought Iron Maiden, John Mayer, Kid Rock, Mary J. Blige, Slipknot, Perfect Circle, the Teen Choice Awards 2004, Dream Theater, Korn, The Killers, Jimmy Eat World, Franz Ferdinand, Velvet Revolver, Slayer, and the Brian Setzer Orchestra. 2005 was a very important year for the Universal Amphitheater. First, the concerts included Queensryche, Maroon 5, and Coldplay, but when Coldplay performed at the Universal Amphitheater, it was no longer called the Universal Amphitheater. In 2005, Gibson Guitars, Universal, and the House of Blues partnered, and the naming rights of the venue were given to Gibson. The venue was renamed to the Gibson Amphitheater. With a new name, the Gibson Amphitheater continued to provide great concerts. In 2006, Sia, The Wiggles, The Strokes, Hannah Montana, Tenacious D, and Guns N' Roses were some of the shows. In 2007, the Blue Man Group, OK Go, Gwen Stefani, Teen Choice Awards 2007, Kelly Clarkson, The Killers, Velvet Revolver, and future President Barack Obama held a rally in 2007 here. In 2008, the Jonas Brothers, Dream Theater, Teen Choice Awards 2008, Belinda Carlisle, Concert for Hope 2008, and Paramore. Some of the concerts that happened in 2009 were Earth, Wind & Fire, MTV Movie Awards 2009, Yes and Asia, ABC, The Wiggles, Paramore, Whitesnake and Judas Priest, Teen Choice Awards 2009, Chickenfoot, Pearl Jam. 2010 were 2 huge years for the Gibson Amphitheater. First, in 2010, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter opened at Universal Studios Orlando. This land was groundbreaking for immersive storytelling in theme parks and was also immensely successful. So it was only a matter of time until Universal built a Harry Potter land in Hollywood. It wasn't a question of if or when a Harry Potter land will be built at Universal Hollywood. It was a question of where would it go. And these questions were answered in 2011. Plans to build a Harry Potter attraction at Universal Hollywood were confirmed, but it wasn't confirmed right away where the attraction would go. According to a USA Today article, a LA County Supervisor, Zev Yaroslavsky, said that he was told that a live concert venue, the Gibson Amphitheater, would be scrapped to make way for the attraction. Obviously, the Gibson Amphitheater was in trouble. To make things worse, Universal said that the Harry Potter attraction would be built at the north end of the park. A huge rumor started that the venue would be leveled to make way for this land. The Gibson Amphitheater stayed open during 2012, and then in 2013, the inevitable announcement finally came. On April 24th, 2013, Live Nation confirmed that the Gibson Amphitheater would close to make way for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. The venue's lease was also coming to an end. Brett Gallagher, president of North American Concerts at Live Southern California / Las Vegas, said, "We, like music lovers across Los Angeles, will miss the Gibson Amphitheater. It is a tremendous venue with a uniquely intimate setting that has made it a very special place for fans and artists alike. The list of musicians that have played here is simply staggering. We are honored to have been a part of its remarkable story. While change like this is difficult, we look forward to putting together a series of great shows that will celebrate everything about this marvelous building." The venue would close in September. The lineup of final concerts that would play were Crush Groove 2013, Marilyn Manson and Alice Cooper, Big Time Rush, Matchbox 20 and the Goo Goo Dolls, Jesus Culture, Teen Choice Awards 2013, Queens of the Stone Age, Danzig, Jesse McCartney, and Backstreet Boys. The final concert that would take place at the Gibson Amphitheater was Pepe Aguilar. It was a sold-out show. Fans that attended that final night described it as the end of a great era for live music in LA. Many fans made sure to attend the final shows just to visit the venue one last time. People try to compare it to other theaters like the Nokia, but no, there isn't another venue like this. The sound, the closeness, it's a great loss, said a fan. It was also an emotional night for the workers of the venue. During the last pre-show meetings with the staff, a lot of tears were shed, according to General Manager Rick Muriel.
The official word came out September 6th of this year will be our last night. Okay, it'll probably be our last show. There's people that have been here 30 years. Pam, how long? 31 in July. 31. Lachette? 19. Nelson? 20. Who else? Frida? 19. I've been here 20. Charlene? 16. Leonard? 22.
The performers were affected by the news as well. George Lopez, who was one of the last performers in September 2013, knowing it was his last time he would ever perform at the Gibson Amphitheater. So at the end of his set, he got down on the floor and literally kissed the stage goodbye. Many ex-employees visited the venue one last time, just to see it again and relive old memories. A month later, in October 2013, the Gibson Amphitheater was demolished. For 41 years, the Universal Amphitheater was a staple in the LA live music scene. The legendary performances will never be forgotten, and the memories that the artists, fans, and employees have made will never go away.